Hi everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the peripheral nervous system, which is divided into two main categories, the somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. We're going to start by looking at the somatic nervous system. The somatic nervous system is all about gathering information from your surroundings. It collects the information from your eyes, ears, nose, mouth and tongue. It uses sensory organs called receptors. These have nerve endings that detect changes in the environment. The changes in the environment are called a stimulus. And when a sensory receptor detects a stimulus, it will send a message from the sensory nerve to the brain, and then the brain will decide how your body wants to react. Let's have a look at the sensory organ of the skin. As you can see here, the skin has many layers. Within it, it has these receptors, and these receptors are capable of determining things such as touch, pain, and temperature. And it's one of the ways that your body can protect itself from the outside world. Receptors in your skin alert you, for example, when you have your hand near something really hot. So if we look at this heat receptor here, it will sense the change in the external environment, so it will sense the change in temperature. It will send a message along the sensory neuron to the brain, and the brain will then tell your motor neuron to move whichever part of the body away from that heat source. It also alerts you when you have insects biting you. Let's have a look now at the sense of hearing. And your ear has two main functions. Not only does it allow you to hear, but it also helps you with your balance. Firstly, we'll have a look at how it helps you to hear. Sound is the vibration of air particles, and these vibrations travel through to your ear until they make your eardrum vibrate. Your eardrum then passes these vibrations along the middle ear, and this middle ear contains the three smallest bones in your body. The vibrations are then passed through to the liquid of the inner ear, where they get passed on to the auditory nerve and processed by the brain as sound. The inner ear allows you to maintain your balance. If you were to suddenly lean in one direction, the fluid from the inner ear canals move against tiny sensory hairs in the canal lining. Once these sensory hairs are stimulated, they send a nerve impulse to the brain, and the brain tells your muscles to balance upright again. Let's now have a look at the sense of sight. Most of your eye is actually hidden and protected by your skull. The pupil here is the opening that allows light in. It is very important that your pupil can change size. So when it is dark, it becomes larger, allowing more light in so you can see. And when it is bright, your pupil shrinks, which allows less light in, therefore protecting the back part of your eye. The light passes through the cornea and the pupil and the lens. The lens actually bends the light to help you focus it on your retina. At the back of the retina, you have photoreceptors, and these photoreceptors send messages along the optic nerve to the brain for interpretation, and this is what gives you your vision. The retina has two main types of photoreceptors. It has rods and cones. Rods work in dim light and are responsible for your vision at night, and cones work in the bright light and are responsible for your colour vision. People that have colour blindness have difficulty looking at different colours because they have fewer cones than normal. Let's finish by looking at the sense of smell and taste. We look at these because they work together. Both smell and taste rely on chemoreceptors, and chemoreceptors are receptors that determine or pick up on chemicals. If we focus on the tongue, the receptors for the taste are taste buds, and you have around 10,000 of these. These are three types of your taste buds, and as you can see here, your taste buds have little pores that allow the chemicals from your food to bind to it. When they do this, they stimulate your sensory nerves, and messages get sent to your brain that give you the sensation of taste. If we look at smelling, smell also relies on chemoreceptors. Now, your olfactory sense, and your olfactory is simply the sense of smelling, is one of your strongest memories that you have. For example, you may have felt sometimes that you smell something and it takes you back to a memory from many years ago. Inside your nasal cavity, you have chemoreceptors that, similarly to the tongue, have chemicals bind to them that send a message along your olfactory neuron to the brain, and your brain processes the information as smell. We're now going to have a look at the autonomic nervous system, which is again broken into two categories. It is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Let's start by looking at the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system speeds up the functions of your body and makes it work more efficiently. It prepares your body for an emergency and it makes you act fast. This is different to the parasympathetic nervous system because this system is all about slowing everything down, and this is what takes control when you're resting. The final thing we're going to look at is the reflex arc, and the reflex arc is really important because on many occasions it saves your body from serious harm. So if we take the example here of your hand accidentally touching something sharp, the final thing we're going to look at is the reflex arc, and the reflex arc is really important because on many occasions it saves your body from danger. If we take this example here, what we find happens is there is a stimulus detected, it activates the sensory neuron, which is relayed through the spinal cord for processing, and it sends a message directly to your motor neuron. And what would normally be a voluntary action becomes involuntary and very fast. Therefore, this allows for your rapid response by removing your hands so no further damage is done.